So, here's what, look, you guys have got an amazing situation here. At my college radio station, we had to go into a mine with a hard hat and a light. We couldn't find the radio station, it was so tucked away. So I can't wait to see your place and see. I'll be so jealous. Like, I don't know if I want to do the microphone because it seems kind of loud. Can you guys hear me if I just talk like this?
Yeah.
All right, good. Because I'll just talk to you guys. Anyway, so I do these from time to time, but normally the best thing to do is just kind of ask questions or take questions from you guys and find out what you want to know. I will give you a little bit about my background, how I got started, because I know maybe in your position you're thinking, how do I make this work? If you want to pursue a career in radio, it probably seems like it might be a tough thing to do. I was very much like you guys in your shoes. I was going to college, and I was working for my college radio station, in the mine, and we were plugging away down there. And I decided one day I just want to do more, and I just called around to different radio stations where I lived. I grew up near a big city in Philadelphia, and I called every single radio station that I listened to until I got an internship. And I lucked out because it was a brand new station, a top 40 station, so played pop music, current music, so stuff that I liked anyway. And it was just a lot of fun. I pretty much, I had no attitude, I had no ego. I just was so happy to be there that I just pretty much did anything I wanted to do. And back in those days, there was a lot of filing to do, there was a lot of cleaning up to do. And then once you do all the grunt jobs, then they give you the keys to the van, the keys to the truck, and they make you drive around, that type of stuff. And you go out and meet people, hand out bumper stickers, shake hands, do all that type of stuff. And then one day, I talked to my program director, who was also a DJ. He was on the air as well. And there was a job in the radio station called board operator. Somebody would just come in overnight, and they just press the buttons, make sure the radio station stayed on the air. And I just said, I want to do that. I want to get in the studio. And he said, I'll do you one better. You go in the studio next door, the production studio, and you make an air check. If I like it, I might put you on the air. So I got all excited. I'm gonna go, and I ran into that production studio, and it was a Tuesday, and I don't think I came out there until about Saturday night. And finally, I've got a minute and a half air check. Back then we had cassettes, that's how old I am. They had to be done on cassettes. So I'm over there, yeah, you guys missed this. We used to have reel-to-reel tape, which was big cassettes. And you had to take a razor and tape, and you had to chop the stuff up and put it all together. So I literally did. I didn't spend till Saturday, but I did spend nearly a day just doing, just trying to emulate the guys that we already had on the radio. And finally, I came up with that minute and a half, that 90 seconds of tape that I thought was good enough to hand off to him. And I gave it to him, and the following day, he said, "It's not bad. It's not bad." So he said, "Okay, this Saturday night, I want you on the air. We'll put you on at 2 o'clock in the morning." And I said, 2 o'clock in the morning? I'm going to be sleeping at 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Not this Saturday night." I said, "Okay, great." So at 2 o'clock in the morning, he comes and says, this is all I want you to do. You're just going to open up the microphone one time an hour. I don't care when you do it. Just whatever, at any time an hour you feel comfortable, you just open up the microphone and you say the name of the radio station, and I want you to close the microphone and shut it down. I said, "That's it? That's all you want me to do?" "Yeah, that's it." So for about 3 weeks, that's all I did every Saturday and Sunday night at 2 o'clock in the morning, between 2 and 6 a.m. in the morning, was open up the microphone one time and say, "Q102. And that's all I did. And after about 3 weeks, I'm like, wow, this isn't as glamorous as I thought it was going to be. But, I was learning, A, to answer the phone, talk to people, and I was, learning all the equipment, trying to figure out how all of that works. Back then, these days, everything's computerized. So, your music log is done by your music director, so that's going to pop up on your screen already. Your commercials are already picked for you, that's already put into a computer as well. Just look at another screen for that, and it's already ready to go. And then even everything you hear in between the songs, the sweepers, the jingles, all that type of stuff that you might have to play, all that's already lined up for you as well. So, and on a morning show, it's a little bit more complicated. We do have another screen where we just have our own audio and things that we need. So, we operate that type of stuff, but we don't really worry about the music and the commercials. Back in those days, though, you did worry about that type of stuff. We used to have walls that were full of these things called carts. They looked like, I don't know if you guys remember 8-track tapes, but they were all individual. So every single song, every single commercial was on a wall. It was on a tape that was basically stuck up on a rack on a wall. So you always had something to do to keep all that type of stuff straight. So it was good. It was a good experience. And then finally, after about 3 weeks, I was able to open up the microphone twice an hour and say the name of the radio station. And then after a few more weeks, you get the point. You just kind of moved on, and I was able to do more. But at first, I really did very little at first. But I was just happy to be on the air, and I knew that this was a shot that not a lot of people get. So, I went with it, and that was it. That was the beginning for me. And then once I got more confident, once I started, actually sounding good, sound like I knew what I was doing, it was pretty amazing how the opportunities just sort of opened up. Because I was in Philadelphia and I was doing just weekends in Philly, and then an opportunity in Baltimore came up to drive down there and then do some more, fill-in work or overnight work or whatever. So I would drive to Baltimore, which is about 2.5-hour drive, to cover another shift there, and then I come back to Philly, do another shift. So I was just kind of hustling quite a bit to just, to just get my experience. And then finally I got a really big break in Pittsburgh, and that was basically my first real job where I was on the air, and every single day I had my own shift that was on every night between 6 and 10 p.m. And that was the big break. All the work that I've been doing was pretty much went right to that first big job. And then here we are. 4 years later, and I'm doing a morning show in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. So that's it. That's my story. That's how it started. It could be very similar for you guys. We have internships still at radio stations. I would say most radio stations in the Bay Area still need their interns. Some positions are paid, others are not. But regardless, I would say that pick a radio station that you like, because that makes it a lot easier. If you're not working somewhere that you're really into and not feeling it, it's kind of hard to really put a lot of passion into something you have no passion for. But at the same time, if you happen to work for a country station and you don't like country music, and nobody else is saying come to us, by all means, please do take the opportunity. So that does kind of tie into how important school is, because basically, I know for us on our morning show as well as the rest of the radio station, we can't take an intern unless you get something out of the deal, and that's experience, but also school credit. So use that to your advantage and get your school credit, but also get yourself into a radio station. It's all about trying to make some friends and see where it takes you.
How many of you have done or are doing an internship at a commercial radio station? Raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, we need to have more hands up, so we'll work on that.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? A good place to look to see who is actually hiring, because it's all about seasons and your semesters and all that type of stuff. But normally put that type of stuff up on Craigslist or even on Facebook as well. So whatever your favorite radio station is, hopefully it's 99.7 now. But if not, it's okay too. Follow them on Facebook, and or just take a look on Craigslist and see under opportunities who might be looking at it. Do you guys have any questions? What do you guys want to know?
For internships, how often or how long? What's an example of an intern being at a radio station?
I would say they can go anywhere between, for us, I believe there are 12 weeks where you get your stick. The downside about doing an internship on a morning show is that you've got to be there at 5:30 in the morning. But the upside is that once in a while there are celebrities that roll in. That's always kind of fun. And it's a morning show, so there's a little bit more going on, and you're required to do more. Like just last week, our interns, we asked them to make a piece of production for us. We needed something. We needed a nerd alert for our producer, because he always talks about nerdy stuff. So anytime he gets bogged down and we want to hit this sounder that it lets everybody know it's a nerd alert. So we had our interns do it, and 2 of them created these things, and we thought, wow, this is a lot better than we thought. And B, we got to put these on the air. So we did like a little thing where we just we played both of the alerts, and then had the audience tell us which one they thought was better. you know, and the interns were just thrilled. They never thought they, you know, A, they never thought they would be on the air, and B, they were shocked that their production actually made it on the air. So, you know, and that was, you know, I was actually sort of surprised like how appreciative they were, and you know how this was just such a big deal to them. But you know, it's probably something that would only happen on the morning show, not so much in another day part. So that's kind of the benefit of working on the morning show, because in morning drive-in radio, you have got a little bit more, I wouldn't say necessarily freedom, but you've definitely got more room to try out different things, you've got a little bit more time to entertain, a little bit more time to create. The rest of the day is very, very music, you know, focused. It's really all about the music, and you know that's your entertainment, that's your star. And you know your job as a DJ or personality is basically to get in there and entertain quickly without getting in the way of the music as much. But yeah, definitely, it's gonna. It just depends on the radio station. Sometimes it's 6 weeks, sometimes it's 8 weeks, sometimes it's 12. And basically you just do whatever they need you to do, and that could be anything. I mean, it could be in the music department, it could be on the streets in the promotions department, or it could be, you know, helping the morning show or helping out one of the other DJs as well, because you definitely need help answering request lines. Handling social media is a big thing now. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You know, it's, you know, we definitely need a lot of young people to make all that stuff happen. Yeah, so that's. I hope that answered your question. You go first.
Do you know how often an intern does get hired after they've done it for you guys?
You know, I don't know. I don't really know any sort of number. It really does kind of come down to, you know, if there is any sort of opening. And it is a little tougher, but I know for me, it really was about, you know, trying to find other opportunities out of the radio station I was in. I mean, I felt like I got pretty fortunate to have gotten as far as I did at my first radio station, but I knew that, you know, if I really wanted to do this, I was probably going to have to go somewhere else. And that meant at another station in town, or quite possibly leaving the area to gain your experience. And you know, that's always sort of been, you know, the route of a radio personality. You always wind up getting at least 2, 3, maybe 4 or more different cities until you hit a job that, you know, that's a successful, that you like, you know, and you're able to live on. You know, it's tough to make money, especially when you are first starting out.